Have a look at the following chart. This is Bitcoin with the Into the Cryptoverse risk metric. So in case you're not following him, here is Ben Cohen. He's publishing interesting videos on various quantitative approaches to time the crypto market. And he's also published this, a metric that turns red whenever the market is very heated, and that turns blue when it's potentially a good time to buy. Interestingly enough, even though it seems like we are entering a bear market, we did not turn red on that metric. It seems like this market cycle top is happening very differently to prior market cycle tops. Prior, we've seen prices go up very, very quickly, bringing in a lot of new investors, bringing in a lot of excitement. This time, the excitement is pretty much non-existent. We just see selling by the long-term holders. Now, instead of just color coding the Bitcoin price, we can also look at the same metric as an oscillator. And interestingly enough, we do see a long-term trend where the bear markets tend to get less and less severe over time, but also the bull markets tend to mute and become less euphoric. We might even see an acceleration of the sell pressure in the last few months. Now check out the following. This is Bitcoin with its logarithmic regression line. This also comes from Into the Cryptoverse, and it shows us how the growth during bull markets tends to slow down over time. We have hit almost the red logarithmic regression line on the first bull. We then went down 2 logarithmic lines in the subsequent bull market, another decline of 2 more logarithmic levels, and one more time a decline of another 2 levels. So it's really no surprise that we are now coming down, that this rally hasn't been as impressive as prior rallies. Bitcoin's market cap has grown further and further. It takes more and more capital to push it higher, and so we simply see diminishing returns. Now there is this idea of seasonality, as in some months of the year might be more positive than others, but it appears as if that effect is just recency bias, because when we look at the entire Bitcoin history, we don't really see any strong effects. Have a look at the average return on investment based on different months. If we take the entire history since the year 2010, then yes, there might be slight variations, but they're really not that significant. Once we make a cut-off though, we just look at the last 10 years, then it appears as if October is a real thing. So October tends to perform the best, and August tends to perform the worst. Let's just have a look at the last 5 years. Again, August seems to not return that much. The last quarter tends to be the most profitable. The winter months tend to be the best. But again, we cannot really build on that. If we just look at the last 2 to 3 years, suddenly December isn't that profitable anymore. And there is a good chance that this December won't be that bullish either. A lot of people are already selling, especially the long-term holders. Another very popular concept is the idea of cycles, as in we tend to see 3 years that are positive that are then followed by 1 year that's bearish. And this 4-year cycle is explained by the supply expansion of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's inflation rate tends to halve every 4 years, right? The Bitcoin halving. So that's what we see in this chart. This is Bitcoin's inflation rate. It's currently at 0.8%, and in 2028 this will drop to 0.4%, then to 0.2, then to 0.1. And so the miners get less and less revenue for running their equipment. Now my impression is that the change in supply doesn't really have that much of a price impact anymore, right? We are looking at annualized 0.4% of a delta, but maybe it's just becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. If a pattern has been repeating all the time, maybe enough people do believe that Bitcoin at some point might be too expensive and it might make sense to rather de-risk. If enough people believe that the price is going down, and very likely it will, because then people sell and that causes the price to decline. If you're enjoying this video so far and you're getting some value out of it, then feel free to give this a like. It will help the channel grow. It will help spread the word. Thank you very much. Now our current market cycle is this line in pink. With every cycle, we have seen diminishing returns. With every cycle, we have seen a lower ROI. And so again, it wouldn't be surprising if this was already the top if from now on we are rather trending down. The opposite would be rather surprising if we suddenly were to double and triple in the price again and potentially overtake the last market cycle where we topped out at $72,000. Here's another way to look at this. This is the performance since the cycle top. So if you do believe that the top is already in, then this might just be the start of the bear market. Just have a look at how we lost pretty much the same amount across the different cycles. We are very far away from a potential bottom. If this was really the cycle top, and if enough people believe in cycle tops. The fundamentals might not support a cycle theory, but psychology can very much override fundamentals. That's why many assets in crypto that don't have any inherent value then get billions of market cap, right? Meme coins don't necessarily have any real value, but if enough people speculate on them, they can rise quite a bit in price. And so this is the effect of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and the 4-year cycle might just be the same, just the other way around for Bitcoin. If everybody thinks we are on the decline, then that's what's going to happen. Here's another way to look at the same thing, this time not the ROI since the market cycle top or the bottom, but simply the return on investment since the halving. Again, this seems like we are pretty much within expectations. Returns tend to diminish over time. And so let's say you are not a fan of trying to time the market. Maybe you're simply just allocating. Maybe you are in the camp of dollar cost averaging, of buying maybe $1,000 every month and doing this for the long term, doing this for longer than one cycle, maybe for 6 years. If you had done so, you would be off quite well, as in you had performed much better compared to dollar cost averaging into the S&P 500 or dollar cost averaging into gold. Bitcoin still performed the best. Had you invested $1,000 for 6 years, every single month, that would have turned out to be $74,000, and you now be close to $250,000 in value, even after the recent price decline. If you're wondering historically what's the best day to buy, if you just take the last 5 years as a reference, the answer is on Friday and on Saturday. That's when we tended to be the least extended from the 7-day simple moving average. Now, if you find this all a bit complicated and you simply just want to copy trade whatever I do, then there's also the premium membership of this channel. So whenever I bet on rising or on falling prices on a particular cryptocurrency, I announce this in the channel. And in July of this year, we also opened an automatic copy trading pool. That pool so far has made 17.6%. while Bitcoin during the same time period crashed by more than 22%. That's the idea. We want to bet on performance independent of the macro environment. We might just go sideways in the market and we still make money. And if you're going down, we try to protect that capital. And we're achieving this by doing something called macro hedging, right? So we go long, say, a particular cryptocurrency, while we go short the entire market. So we're really just betting on the delta. And so we're not really interested what the general market is doing. Even if we are in a bear market, by just betting on the deltas, we can still produce performance. You can simply copy trade and even do this with leverage, right? Here are a few trades made by community members. Or if you want to invest in the next copy trading vault, that will be available to the annual members of this channel. The next copy trading capital pool opens in January of 2026. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you on Premium. Link pops up here on the screen. See you next time. Cheers.